Hello and welcome. Today I will be designing some Wings of Fire dragons that were created by a generator. So this is different from the hybrid challenge because not all of these dragons will be hybrids, and this method also allows for a lot of other characteristics to be generated about the dragon as well. The generator that I did use was created by Honeybeest on YouTube, because I thought, why create my own when there's others out there? So I will link their video in the description so you can check it out and use their generator if you want to, and check out the rest of their content. Let's get right into the designs. I feel like I need to start off by saying this generator was so fun to use. It gives you so much information to go off of, but it's also open to your own interpretation, so you can really work with what you were given. So my first time around, I got a pure Silkwing who is scatterbrained, cowardly, poised, optimistic, and also albino. And he has a piece of Animus enchanted jewelry, which I thought was cool. So for this character, I went with kind of like a elegant but also like skittish and quiet dragon. Due to his mutation, he probably has hearing issues, sight issues, and sensitivity to the sun. But he has those big fluffy antennas, so I feel like he's good at predicting the weather and the rain, like Silkwings can. And as far as his enchanted Animus jewelry goes, I'm not sure how possible that is because I'm not sure if there is Animus magic documented with Pantalon dragons, but we're just gonna go with it. I made it like a ring horn shaped like a vine, and I like to imagine it was made by the leaf wings. And what it does actually is it collects the sun energy, the ultraviolet, that kind of stuff, and just like keeps it nice and safe. And it creates like an aura where the sun isn't as strong. So, and as it like fills up, you can see it turns gold. I feel like this dragon would use this to protect himself as he goes outside and looks at the weather in the sky and stuff. And he probably like has an agreement with the Leafwing who gave it to him, where he gives it back when it's full so they can use it to help their plants grow and such. So this is Nimbus, the Silkwing. A bit of an unusual name, but he's probably not a very typical Silkwing. So there he is. He's the first dragon I made with this generator. Alright, for this next dragon, I got a Leafwing Nightwing hybrid who is rude, cunning, but charming and also optimistic. The pattern was based off of snakes, and the accessories include a necklace, piercings, and glasses with no, special ability. So with creating this dragon, I figured she could pretty much effectively assimilate into Nightwing society. She doesn't have Leafwing abilities, but she also doesn't have Nightwing abilities. She's pretty average. She did hatch, though, with like a particular affinity for the night sky and for Nightwing culture, so she was accepted pretty much straight away. Physically, she fits well within the parameters of what I would believe a natural variation in Nightwings to look like, so she doesn't really stand out. She, however, is pretty introverted and prefers to hang in the darker parts of the jungle. She probably sleeps during the day in like a patch of sunlight, I imagine, and at night she comes out and just looks at the stars. She's pretty good at reading them, and she might even find a prophecy or two. Because of this, she is seen as like a figure of wisdom. However, she doesn't much care for visitors. She might share her wisdom, but she will probably just snap at you. For her coloring, she is black like a Nightwing. I gave a slight blue-green color to her accents, from her Leafwing heritage. And then for her markings, I was inspired by tree snakes. They have banded stripes typically. So I put her markings into a stripe shape, as she is similar to a tree snake in that she likes to sit in trees. This is Forest Watcher, the Nightwing Leafwing. She doesn't typically wear her glasses. I guess she's not a fan, or she thinks she doesn't need them. but she keeps them on a necklace typically and wears the rest of her jewelry and piercings quite proudly. All right, next up is a pure Skywing who is lazy, arrogant, strong, and talented, with markings similar to like calico markings. He has a necklace, gold teeth, and jewelry on his tail, wings, or horns with no particular special ability. I thought at first this was a difficult combination of traits, but I figured a way, I think, to put them together. So, this is Meteor. He is a retired, but formerly professional athlete in the Skywing Kingdom. I imagine if any tribe were to have professional sports, it would be Skywings. So, he is, quite arrogant due to his success, um, and very headstrong, not physically strong too much, but he, was very talented. He is still very good at strategy, so he'd probably be a good coach. At first I was thinking to name him something like Victory, but that definitely came off as a bit too corny. If he had a kid, though, he'd probably name it Victory. Um, but for those calico markings, I just went with orange, black, and white, and then I later decided to add another orange tone in there. For the necklace, I thought, why not give him a bunch of his medals to wear? He'd probably wear those a lot. And then for the gold teeth, I figured he played a contact sport and might have gotten some knocked out. Yeah, that's about it for Meteor. I think he'd make a very fun side character or like a small scale antagonist. The next dragon I got was also a pretty tricky combo. It is a Skywing, Mudwing, Silkwing Tribrid, who is cunning, selfish, calm, and playful, with leopard spot markings, and who wears a cloak, a necklace, a scarf, and chains, and has a strange enchanted ability, which is pretty interesting to work with. So I went with uh, a mostly Mudwing dragon. They're probably half Mudwing and then half Silkwing Skywing. This dragon, despite the funny demeanor, is actually still that greedy, selfish, like scammer, I guess. Like I figured for this character, they like just travel around on their own, like not having a particular tribe allegiance, and they do like gambling, like games. I'm thinking of that episode of Avatar: The Last Airbender, like where Toph uses earthbending to like win the Carney scam games. That's what I'm thinking of. This dragon and their ability to cheat people out of money would be like they were enchanted with like really good sleight of hand or just some other kind of cunning. That's their enchanted ability. Despite all of the dishonesty, though, I feel like this character genuinely enjoys being a performer, and if their mischief and games and like showmanship can bring a smile to another dragon's face, they probably use that to justify their lifestyle. For all of those accessories, though, I got carried away. I just kept rolling for more accessories, but I think the eclectic style came together well for this idea of a nomadic character who travels around and has to carry everything they own on their back. So there's just a cloak, and then I ended up adding a scarf on top. And the chains aren't too prominent, but there will be like a nose ring that's just a chain style. And then this dragon also has a stopwatch they wear that's on a chain. There's also, I mentioned this was mostly Mudwing. It's a very big, stocky, thick dragon, like a square head, crocodile tail. With that tail, I gave it like some of the Silkwing scales, and then I will color it a little green as a nod to Silkwings. The wings are nice and big, like a Skywings, and I will make them like red or orange. Oh yeah, I also added like these horns on the shoulders, because the Silkwing has 4 wings, but a Skywing and a Mudwing both have 2. I like to imagine that this dragon's egg, like in the embryological DNA, there was some instruction for wings, but it didn't quite build anything that looked like wings. It just stopped building after these little stubs. So with that color, you can see I went with mostly browns, with red for sky wings and green for silk wings. The leopard spots, I made them like square shaped because I feel like they fit in with this character's vibe and the rest of the design. So here is Oxpecker, the Mudwing, Skywing, and Silkwing Tribrid. Alright, last up we have a Seawing who is cunning, greedy, supportive, and studious, who is covered in tattoos, vines, jewels, and has gold teeth. Who also is an animus. So this is a lot to deal with right off the bat, and I was feeling kind of intimidated by the idea. I don't have any animus characters so far, just because I think it's something you have to pull off, but, right here I had no choice, obviously. So I made this pretty mischievous-looking Sea-Wing character. I figured to have the animus ability, he would have to be a prince, but instead of living the high life, he chooses to be an explorer and like a treasure hunter. So he travels across the sea. I guess he has like a boat and a crew. He treats his crew quite well. He respects the work they do. And in return, he might grant them small wishes from his animus magic, which making those unselfish enchantments helps keep his sanity slightly higher. Um, with his treasure, he doesn't want anybody finding it, so he will bury it in hard-to-find places. He might, like, enchant the forest around it to be dangerous. He might enchant, like, a resident shark to be very aggressive and serve as a guardian. And one thing I was having trouble fitting in was the vine, because I thought it clashed with his, like, luxurious, like, gold features. What I just ended up doing was I imagined this was a enchanted vine that he just has growing off the water in his body, and he probably finds some use for it. I gave him these, like, whirlpool and, like, wave design motifs because I named him Eddie, which is, like, a funny piece of dramatic irony, but to a seeming, it was, like, a dangerous whirlpool in the ocean. So it kind of represents that instability of Nanos Dragon. And for the tattoos, I gave him a little fishbone on his hand, and then, like, a big Whirlpool logo on his wing. I feel like that's, like, his crew sign or his gang sign. And finally, I gave him a teardrop tattoo. I think it's something he would definitely do, having heard that some, like, powerful Nightwings have teardrop markings, and he would want to have that for himself. And I covered him in scars also, because of his affinity for discovery. He probably has had a lot of run-ins with rather dangerous creatures that he gets too close to. But yeah, this is Eddie, and he is my final random generated dragon. If you made it to the end, thank you so much. I do plan to make much more content with my Wings of Fire characters. I do just keep making more and more of them, and I am giving them lore and a story, so I hope to make more content of that in the future, whether it be animatics or animation memes or something like that. But thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.